All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Strictly Business Fantasy Football Podcast. My name is Biz, and as always, I'm joined with my co-host here, Big Burly, Mediocre John. What's up, brother? How you doing today?
Chilling, busy. What's going on?
Just living the dream, getting ready for Turkey Day. Excited.
Yes, sir.
It's my favorite holiday because you get family, friends, football, and food. Can't beat that. And you don't have the nonsense of having to give gifts. You just buy food and buy booze and get down.
Hell yeah.
I'm also joined by my other co-host down the middle, doesn't do a damn deal, Dave. How you doing, Dave?
What's up? What's up?
Yeah, what's up? What's up? Should switch mediocre business.
Gobble.
Anyways, Dave, you getting excited for Thanksgiving or what?
Oh yeah. Going to have dinner with the fam. My brother and his girlfriend are gonna make a nice dinner, and I get to bring some sides. Like some, salad and some buffalo wings, and it's gonna be a hell of a day.
Nice.
I think traditionally sides are like macaroni and cheese and mashed potatoes.
Well,
carrots, stuffing, corn.
Oh yeah, all that stuff. Just whatever sounds good.
Whatever sounds good, Dave. Yep. Like sitting on your team, just taking that magic carpet ride, man, right into the playoffs, right?
Hey man, he put up almost 140 this week.
So his team's improving.
Well, it's not like he got 25 points out of his kicker, right?
Yeah, for sure. That certainly helps. That certainly helps. But tomorrow, all of us Giants fans in the league, unfortunately, have to, just survive a game. Playing in Dallas against the Cowboys, no one expects anything.
Drew Lock special, baby.
Yeah, it looks like Locke is playing. I heard Tommy DeVito's not even going to make the trip.
Wow.
So Drew Lock, is a notification I just got before we went live. So Drew Lock, he's gunslinger. We'll see what he's got. He was a little frustrated that he didn't get the start, and he got passed over for Tommy DeVito. So he's going to get his chance tomorrow.
That was all money related, man.
There's a reason why he was passed over for Tommy DeVito.
Yeah, the reason was money.
Locke sucks, dude.
That has nothing to do with that. Tommy DeVito sucks too. Drew Lock probably sucks a little less.
A little more.
He has incentives, Dave, in his contract. If he has a certain number of snaps, he gets bonuses. Certain number of games, he gets bonuses. Something like that. So the Giants were just trying to take that off of the table.
Right.
I don't think they were playing Tommy DeVito because they were in love with Tommy DeVito.
Well, it doesn't matter anymore. Now, since our last podcast, the Giants released Daniel Jones, which was a shocker to some, but seems like it might have been a request from Daniel Jones. Ricky, he was pretty heated about the Daniel Jones whole situation. He thinks that Daniel Jones went right to Mara and asked for a release, bypassing the GM and the head coach. And just to make sure I'm not getting this wrong, let's quote Ricky. You can't call a guy a class act and a professional when the first fucking time he wasn't a starter in 6 years, he skips the coach and the GM to ask the owner to quit. Sit your ass down and coach your team up. Suck it up. Fuck off. The fact that Mara would do that is so out of touch. After he told Shane he would hate himself if Saquon went to the Eagles. It's killing me. He can go and sign somewhere else, and we are paying his crusty ass quitter bitch ass fuck face. I'm like, tell him how you really feel, Rick.
That was a very Nichols rant.
Yeah. I would take his bitch ass out at his knees if I saw him in person.
Go. Can we talk for a second about group chat?
Yes, please. We have to. It's
What
malfunction.
the fuck was that the other night, man?
Well, first of all, there's text messages. Who the fuck has got a droid again?
I don't think anybody's got a droid. Somehow we got split into two different groups.
Yeah, we might
I
have to.
still like. Let me see.
I mean, I don't want to restart the group chat, but there's still text messages coming in specifically from Rick because Carl's
I don't know
was.
if you can see that. I have two different strictly businesses on my.
Yeah, mine's not broken up like that. It's all coming in through the same group or chat, but it's like Ricky's a text message. Everyone else's iMessages. RJ's was a text message. Like, I don't know. It's not. I don't think it's just one person. I think it's something going on.
Yeah,
Dave,
mine's
is yours
split up too?
Yours is split?
Yeah.
Interesting. Mine's not split. That's so strange.
Yeah, I've
Everything's
got Ricky, RJ, and Carl in one, and then just kind of I think everybody else in another one.
really. Huh.
I had the logo on one, and then the other chat has like all the bubbles, the icons of.
Fix it, Biz. Fix it. Jeez.
Fix it.
Yeah. Jeez Louise. So, yeah, the other night, Phil decided to attack Nick's comment because Nick beat you, Dave. We'll get into the breakdown or the recap in a minute, but he beat you and touting himself with his second win of the season. Let me repeat that. His second win, number 2 on the season. In week 12, Nick decides to.
That's my favorite part. How you say he touted himself.
Yeah.
That's such the Nicky thing to do, dude.
You're 2-10, brother. Just take your win and move on. No one gives a fuck.
Yeah, that's it. Good game.
There's 11 teams that are competitive this year. You're the team that's not. Let's just leave it at that. And I think that's what Phil was getting at. But Phil just decided to do it in a very Phil way.
That there had to have been alcohol behind that, right?
Yeah.
That's how alcohol works, right?
I think he was fueled by some alcohol for sure. Because he went off. And I texted you. I'm like, did I miss something? Like, where did this come from?
Dave called me.
Really?
Dave's like, yo, what the fuck, man? You don't talk to people like that. And I was like, it's just Phil being Phil.
Well, we know there's a healthy banter between these two all the time, right?
Yeah.
But this was over the top. Then Nick posts his home address.
It says, come get some.
Come get some. So I was at the bar with my buddy. We were watching the Monday night game when this was going down. And I just went like this and showed him my phone. I'm like, bro, he's like, what? I'm like, this is my league. Like, I don't know what else to say. Our league is insane. It's full of a variety of personalities. We've been told that we don't know football.
I just
by people in our own league. We've been told, to stop talking about the Giants when half the league is Giants fans. Of course, we're going to talk about the Giants.
Yo, remember when we were Dumb and Dumber?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And then somehow there's become like a border war, even though Colorado and Connecticut aren't border states. I'm from Connecticut, motherfuckers. That's where I grew up and spent most of my life. I've been in Colorado for 9 years, and now all of a sudden I'm a hater. Man, Then you actually do some research and you dig into some statistics. You put the statistics on the podcast. They get thrown back in your face as if you don't know football. Hey, I take everything with a grain of salt. The fact that 1 year during the national championship game for the University of Connecticut, I was told I didn't play varsity basketball when, in fact, I did play varsity basketball in high school. It's, it's a part of this league where majority of us grew up together. I know, John, you've been in the league now 8 years. Dave, you're still kind of new, 10 years.
This is year 10.
10
I
years.
won a championship in year 9.
Okay.
I've been around
5
as
years.
long as we have the list on the belt.
Okay.
Well, I think Ricky was on there, and the year after Ricky is when I joined.
So you now have started to develop some history with a lot of these guys, and majority of us grew up together. Shit, I've known these guys in the league since I was 4 or 5 years old. And I'm now 43. So It's a long freaking time. So there's a lot of history there. There's a lot of history for sure. And sometimes
How long
I guess
have Nick and Phil been Israel and Palestine?
that's actually, I don't know. I think so. Phil played on our softball team when we all met Nick. And I want to say that was 2015. That's when we met Nick. Actually, no, it was 2013. Excuse me. We met Nick, or at least the majority of us met Nick. RJ had already known Nick, and I think that's a business relationship first. I don't know the origin there, but I know RJ is the one that brought him in. And Nick's been a great addition to our league because Nick has his own style. It's unique to everybody else. I mean, everyone has their own unique approach. But again, touting a blueprint that he has to fantasy last year really is when the blueprint came out. Or was it the year before, I think?
I think he had been joking about it the year before, and we really started pushing back hard on it.
And the thing you got to understand about Nick that I've learned in getting to know him, Nick's very sarcastic, which I appreciate because I can be very sarcastic as well. And you can't take anything that he says to heart. It's for fun. And I think that's Nick's approach. And I think that's what he meant behind that text. He knows his team sucks this year.
Yeah.
The one thing Nick is not is an idiot. Nick is very intelligent. But, he took a jab because that was the one time he could take a jab. His team has had 2 good weeks. Granted, 150 is a good week, but he dropped 190 on me. And that was his other win. And he deserved it. His team was due. So, nonetheless, let's get into the Week 12 recap here. Let me share my screen. This always takes a minute. All right. We're going to start with this one because my team has some explaining to do. 7-5, Bing Bong loses 115 to STD Buckets, 149.96. I've lost 2 in a row, boys. I was 7-3, had a firm grasp on the playoffs. Now I'm in a dogfight. My team did not show up. Goff didn't do much. Hurts didn't do what Hurts is supposed to be doing because Saquon ran all over the place. That was a Sunday night game. Christian McCaffrey was severely hampered by the fact that Brock Purdy didn't play. Brian Robinson, thanks for showing up. Ankle injury on his first touch. Comes back in the game. Doesn't even finish the first half. Sun God, they didn't really need him. I mean, 6 for 62 is a good day, but not a good fantasy day. Jacoby, great. Just going down my team here. Jatavian Sanders, he was a spot start because I got a couple guys on bye. He was having a good first half, 3 for 49, and then he gets tackled in a funny way where he got flipped up in the air and landed on his head. He got carted off the field. Obviously, his day.
I think that was like his 3rd straight target on that drive.
Yeah, and that was right at the end of the first half. So he was on his way to a good day. Tyrone Tracy, he lost a fumble in the red zone and basically benched after that. Rico Dowdle, decent day. Not great, but lost a fumble. Moody, obviously hampered by not having Purdy at quarterback. They just got walloped in Green Bay. And then Chicago defense, they had 5 points going into overtime, and they finished with -3 because of the yardage and the points allowed. So for my also Devonta Smith didn't play because of a hamstring injury. So I was, it was just one of those weeks where everything was going Norm's way. His quarterback scored 10 points and his team dropped 150. Big day out of Pollard, big day out of DJ Moore. DJ Moore got over 100 yards in the overtime. So it was another 6 points just to add injury to insult. Tillman did leave the game with a concussion. George Kittle had a touchdown, and we talk about it all the time. Touchdowns are king in fantasy. He had more touchdowns. Speaking of touchdowns, Houston had a pick 6. They had 7 first-half sacks. Monster fantasy day with 27 points. When you give up 30 points and 369 yards, and the fantasy score is still 27 points, that's absurd. That's absurd. So congrats to Norm. He was in a must-win situation. I was trying to end his season. He was 5-6 coming into this. Now he's 6-6, only 1 game back. We'll show you the standings in a minute. But congrats, Norm. You beat me, dude. I got to tip my cap. Nothing I can say. Make Bears great again. Another team in my division that came into this week at 5-6 gets the win, 122.16 to Phil 2 weeks in a row. Dropping turds, 72.78. Jeff gets the must-needed win, 6-6. Phil drops to 7-5. 2 straight losses out of Phil as well. And meanwhile, Norm and Jeff have won 2 straight. So this division is 1 game separating the leader of the division and the 2 teams fighting for their playoff lives. Let's break this down real quick. Jeff started Geno Smith because Brock Purdy was ruled out going into the weekend. Lamar had a pretty good game, 2 touchdowns. I would say it's a modest game for Lamar. Actually, 2 touchdowns through the air, 1 on the ground. Not sure what Phil's doing here, starting Jonathan Brooks in his first career start against Kansas City. And that's what you get, 0.7. Aaron Jones was a monster, over 100 and a touch. Swift, he didn't have that good of a game. Javonte Williams stinks. You just go down the list here. Jeff had 24 out of McBride. McBride's a stud. He just doesn't score touchdowns. 12 for 133. Monster day. Boswell came back to earth after 6 field goals the week before. This game was kind of blah. Just looking at it. What do you guys think? Quentin Johnston, no catches on 5 targets. Cade Otton, 1 catch for 30 yards.
I think Quentin Johnston had 3 drops.
Yeah,
too, man.
They're right on his gloves, man, and he just didn't catch the ball. He didn't bring it.
That dude is hashtag not good at football.
Yeah,
J.K. Dobbins got hurt in the game.
Yep.
So it was kind of a slow, ugly.
And now they're saying Dobbins is going to miss a few weeks, but yeah, you look at this. 122 gets the win. Jeff needed this. Jeff needed to backdoor his way to 500. He better score more than 122 this week. That's all I'm going to say. So Phil drops to 7-5. Jeff moves up to 6-6. Raw dogging it. This one, both teams were 5-6 coming in. Both teams needed to win. One team showed up. One team forgot they were playing this week. Raw dogging in 146.36 to 71.63. This is 2 straight weeks for Ricky. Ricky was 5-5. Must-win situations. I
think he scored more than 100 the last 3 weeks.
At least 2 for sure. I don't know about 3, but you could be right.
The 3rd week was the week he beat me with 98.
Ooh. Then you're right. Okay.
Ricky?
Yeah. His team is
scored more. I played him last or the week before last. I think Ricky scored over 100. Pretty sure.
That's true. He did, but it was still very low scoring, under 120. which I would consider a dud. I know Josh Allen was on a bye, so he started Anthony Richardson. And Dave, this just proves to you here again, you don't do deals and you allow your team to just ride it out, and that's what's happening to Rick. He started the Giants defense. They got -9. He had Buffalo on a bye. Yeah.
It's about as bad as a defense can do in our league, -9.
Yeah. I think -12 is the actual bottom, but I could be wrong. Because they did have a forced fumble. Otherwise, they would be at a -11. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
they gave up 30 points. The Caps at 35. So there were more points to lose, too. And you can lose a lot of friggin' points with your defense in this league.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I mean, kudos to Ryan. Ryan had a solid week, 146. He doubled up Ricky. Rick's team's in the dumpster right now, even though he gets Josh Allen back. He's in a must-win situation, and because his team hasn't scored many points in 3 weeks, he's low on the point total list for sure. Rod Ogden moves up to 6-6, still in the playoff hunt. Currently sits at 7. He is in the 7th spot. And that's because of this guy right here. In My Own Way moves up to 6-6, dropping damn near 200. Carl, who was basically on a punt week because all the Bengals are on a bye, still put up 156. His team is stacked. These are definitely the 2 best rosters in the league. Don't look at the records. Rich could easily be 8-4, if not 9-3, if he didn't overthink some of the lineup decisions throughout the season. But Jaden Daniels has best game in the last few weeks. Jahmyr Gibbs is an absolute stud.
Yeah, and a lot of that what Jaden did came on that last play, too.
Well, was it an 80-something yarder?
To McLaurin, too. You know, McLaurin, I think, had 1 catch previous to that for like 10 yards.
He ended up with 5 for 102, but
Okay.
and the touchdown. But obviously, an 87-yard touchdown is huge.
So he
Wow.
was 4-20 before.
Yeah,
Crazy game.
yeah. I mean, that's easily 25 points for Rich on that one play.
Yeah.
That's a huge, huge bump. But that's also why you stack the stacks. You know, you can get those bolt plays that blow up your score and boost you to a win. But Rich has been on fire. He's now won 3 in a row, and I believe it's 4 of his last 5. But he's won 3 in a row. He's now 3-6, or excuse me, 6-6. Apologies, 6-6, and he's the number 6 seed in the playoffs. If the playoffs were supposed to start today, and no one wants to play this team.
No one wants to play either one of those 2 guys.
No, because you scroll down here, there's this one guy named Saquon Barkley who had 255 yards, 2 touchdowns, a total of 30 touches for over 300 total yards. 302. That's in one game.
NFL record.
54 points. Was it an NFL
Yep.
record?
All
Wow.
all-purpose yards record.
Wow. That's insane. Both defenses showed up, 23 and 22. I mean, this was a heavyweight battle. And again, you look at Carl's bench, no Burrow, no Higgins, and no Chase. So, yeah, these 2 teams are definitely loaded. Definitely loaded. And Justin Jefferson didn't even do anything. He had 1 catch going into overtime for 7 yards. And he caught a 20-yard reception in overtime, which is crazy. Rich could have had a monster day. I mean, anytime you get 50 out of a guy, you should win. So Rich moves up to 6-6. Carl falls to 8-4, but it doesn't really matter. We'll show you the standings here in a minute. We've got 2 more games, and it's your games, guys. Business Ethics loses 139.12 to 150.58. This is the failed blueprint. Change my team name every week. This week, his logo looks like someone riding a horse, and I would assume I know who that person is.
I'm pretty sure that's Phil from my Facebook profile picture.
No, it's the jockey. I don't
That
know who that is.
who is this?
That's Nick.
That's Nick.
Hold
But I don't know. But nonetheless, 150.58. Well, you look that up.
No, it's not. It's not Phil.
Okay, but it looks like him. Tua had a monster day, 4 touchdowns, over 300 yards passing. Achane had a solid day. 2 of those passing touchdowns were to Achane. Tyreek, he didn't do much. Keenan Allen had a good game. Adunze didn't do much. Jonnu Smith, he's been solid, man. 9 catches for 87 yards and a touch. Mark Andrews chipped in with a touch. Now, Dave, you had A.J. Brown. He had a good game.
Yep.
Bo Nix kind of came back down to earth. Abdullah surprising. I mean, if Abdullah doesn't score that touchdown, he's got like 8.5 points.
Yeah, the Broncos are pretty solid versus the run, but they have their issues with covering the running backs receiving, So Abdullah was able to get a touchdown 8 yards out.
Yeah. So if you didn't get 24 points out of your kicker, your team's down to I don't know. Let's just call it 10 points out of a kicker, which is kind of the average week.
Yeah. I wouldn't have been so lucky, I guess. I would have lost by 40 instead of 10. Huh?
Yeah, because going into Monday night, this game was close, wasn't it?
It was a dead heat. It was a dead heat for most of I would say half of Sunday afternoon games through Monday night. Yes.
What happened on Monday night?
Well, Nikki had Andrews and Tucker left with a 2-point lead, and I had McConkey.
Okay. So, the 2 of them scored 20.6 to McConkey's 11.3.
I mean, it was a lot closer than it seemed like. In fantasy terms, it was like the last drive of the game. I'm on the phone with John, and I'm like, "Well, John, looks like I'm going to lose." And then the Chargers had the last drive of that game, trying to just get a touchdown, and I think McConkey had like 60 yards by when that drive started, and he ended up with 83. And the last thing I knew that I needed McConkey to get that 5-point bonus after 100 yards and a touchdown for me to win. But it was pretty much the Chargers were on the 16-yard line, so that would have gave me 99 yards, and it wouldn't have mattered if he scored a touchdown, and I wouldn't have had that 5-point bonus, if he had that touchdown at the end.
Well, John, you know what they say. There's no moral victories in fantasy, right?
Correct.
You either win or you lose. And you took the L this week, buddy. 7-5 to the failed blueprint, his second win on the season. John, take us through this week 12 matchup. It was a must win for you. You were 6-5 coming in. You get the win, 132.3. Firm grasp of the obvious is on the outside of the playoffs looking in. Now 5-7. What was working for you?
Yeah, it didn't look good most of the weekend. Mahomes had Kansas City buzzing. The 2 boys in Tampa Bay were pretty good. I was coming into the late games feeling pretty shitty. But Josh Jacobs ended up really pulling through, not just giving my team the 33, but, helping knock his defense down a bunch with all those points. He had the San Francisco defense, so I was catching a double on those. And the last touchdown, even after, he was questionable to return with cramps, and he was sitting at 99 yards and 2 touchdowns. I was like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, you texted me.
Yeah.
You were pissed.
Right. But he came through. Solid days from other people. Hawkinson had a good day. Collins had a good day. Collins was once again robbed of a touchdown. with a penalty, not a bullshit penalty, but a penalty.
It was a 33-yard touchdown, but Mixon moved before the snap.
Yeah, no doubt. He moved. That's what I'm saying. It's bullshit. Not a bullshit penalty. It was bullshit.
Bullshit.
Penalty. So that was a 15-point swing because that puts him over 100, gets him another tutty. That gives him 30-point day.
Yeah.
But the team came through. I thought I was going to pay the price for playing Minnesota over the fucking Bucks D playing the Giants.
And you picked up Kyler Murray this week for Cedric Tillman. Tillman left early in that game with a concussion, and Murray he had a bad game.
Yeah, that trade helped neither of us.
Yeah. No. And what did Stroud do? 17. So that would have given you some more breathing room. Really, the difference here was the defenses, because that's a 14-point difference, and you won by 13. So you could break it down however you want. That's just one thing that popped out to me was the difference in defense. Obviously, it's a huge edge. Mahomes went off with 3 touchdowns, and he had that big 30-yard lead.
Mahomes' best game of the season, right?
Oh, 9 points for Kyler. Is Seattle's defense better than what we think it is?
I think so.
Better than it was at the beginning of the season.
Plus, they were coming off a bye, and this was a big division game. That NFC West is up for grabs right now. Seattle could be in the driver's seat. Arizona's at the top. San Francisco's falling apart, and then the Rams are still around. So that division's the toughest division right now, top to bottom. So real quick, we'll jump into the standings here. After the week 12, this is the first week of division games. We have 2 more weeks of the regular season. In the Red Flags division, I moved up to first place because we both lost. Me and Phil have both lost 2 in a row, but the points 4. I now have 26 more points than Phil, putting me in the driver's seat. But with 2 weeks left, this division's up for grabs. Jeff and Norm have both won 2 in a row and are now 6-6. So this week, huge matchups in this division. The next 2 weeks are huge matchups in this division. Up for grabs. Mediocreville. Carl, he has a 2-game lead with 2 to play. He lost his first game in quite a while. He falls to 8-4. Clearly has the points advantage over Rich, who sits at 6-6, has won 3 in a row with that jam-packed stud lineup. Now Rich is in 6th place in the playoffs and in control of his own destiny. Ryan's on the outside looking in at 6-6. He's in 7th place, and Ricky's season's over. With only 1,561 points, he's fallen 2 weeks in a row. He's 5-7. Skid marks, another division up for grabs, boys. You two sit atop 7-5, 7-5, but Dave has a 102-point lead for the tiebreaker. RJ's at 5-7, still has a prayer to get in the playoffs, but needs to win out and needs to put up points. And then 2-10, Nikki.
Do you think 7-7's getting in the playoffs this year?
It could.
Right now, 5th place has 7 wins.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But again, with these division games, you could have teams that are 7-5 falling off because here, let's go to where is it?
The 7-7 team could have more points than me. That could happen.
Well, so right now, Carl has the number 1 seed. I have the number 2 seed. Phil would be the number 4 seed. Dave would be the 3 seed.
Right.
John, you would be the 5 seed. In my own way, Rich would be the 6 seed. And you're right. There's 4 teams all have a 7-5 record. Number 2 through number 5. Carl has a 1-game advantage at 8-4. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4 teams that sit 6-6. Rich holds a 9-point lead over Ryan, and those two clearly have way more points than Jeff and Norm. So Jeff and Norm absolutely have to finish 8-6 to get in, to have a chance to get in. But it's going to come down to points most
How
likely.
many 6-6 teams are there?
1, 2, 3, 4. Then there's 4 teams that are 7-5. Carl's 8-4. Ricky and RJ are 5-7. So legitimately, 11 teams still have a mathematical chance, but it's going to be tough.
Mm.
I mean, Norm has the least amount of points out of all of those teams. 1479. So he needs to score points, and he needs to go 2-0. He's on his way. He's won 2 in a row. Same with Jeff. Same with Rich. Won 3 in a row. John, you've won 2 in a row. And then the top 4 seeds, as they stand right now, have all lost last week. That's the crazy thing about fantasy, man. It's not over till it's over.
One
You
step
got-
forward, 2 steps back.
You got studs not performing, and just it's a mess. So let's go back here. Let me see. Transactions. Because there hasn't been many trades going on. But a couple Reese PC deals. Let's go back. There we go. So before last week's games, all these trades took place before last week. You got Kyler Murray for Cedric Tillman from Norm. And then Ryan picked up Tucker Kraft, gave up Geno Smith and Will Dissly, which is looking like Jeff got an edge there,
I
potentially.
think so. Yeah. Disley's hot right now.
We got a chat question in. Start 1, Mike Evans, Monty, and Chase Brown.
What's that?
Start 1, Mike Evans, David Montgomery, Chase Brown. It's tough.
That is tough. You must have a pretty solid team, if that's your question.
I don't know what the matchups are with any of them, but I would probably lean Monty not
Well,
doing.
I know Monty plays
Mike
Chicago.
Evans at Carolina. That is pretty tough to beat, man.
Yeah,
Carolina gives up the most receiving yards in the
Chicago,
league.
that's a shitty matchup. What about Chase Brown? What are the Bengals doing?
Who does Cincinnati play this week?
Let me check it out. Pittsburgh. That's going to be tough.
Yeah, I think we might be leading Mike Evans. Evans, then Monty, then Chase for me.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I know Montgomery is a little dinged up with a shoulder. Again, they play home in the early game tomorrow against the Bears. The Bears do have a good run defense. But the way Detroit's been playing, man, they just get up and they just maul people. But, yeah, I would say Mike Evans.
Yeah, I'm with that.
All day.
Like, solid Mike Evans.
There you go, Keystro.
Yeah, there you go, Keystro. Thanks for the comment. Buccaneers D was traded for Xavier Legette. Now it's between you and Phil. You guys did a deal. Woohoo. RJ picks up Deontay Johnson for Romeo Dobbs. Deontay Johnson has not done shit for Baltimore. So I think that's an edge for Jeff.
Hey, man, we really didn't talk about in that RJ game how he sat Jalen Waddle for Deontay Johnson.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Jalen Waddle put up 140 and a touch?
Yeah. That's a tough one. I don't know. Maybe because Deontay Johnson was playing on Monday night. That's why he gave him the nod. And honestly, Waddle hasn't done much. in the last since Tua came back. So can you fault him for taking the chance? No, but I don't know. I would have thought Waddle, to me, would have been a start over Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson, to me, is more of an approve it scenario.
Yeah, I got to see it before I put him in at this point.
Yeah. That's a tough one. That's a bad beat. It's a bad beat because he would have won the game, huh?
Oh, yeah. I mean, and we could talk about lineup changes all we want. You know, I could have put in a different defense. It would have been whatever, you know. But, I mean, it was a close, and that was a decision. And, I mean, I don't know that you say it was a bad beat. I respectfully say that it was a bad decision.
Well, that's kind of what I mean. You know, I like Deontay Johnson, the player. I just, again, he's in a prove it situation for me. I don't think he's startable.
He's not even playing. Yeah, I think he had 25 snaps Monday night.
Yeah.
That was more than I was comfortable with. But, I mean, he's only had like 6 targets since he's been on the team.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. So tough to start him there for sure. RJ also picked up the Texans defense, gave up Dalton Schultz and Christian Watson. That actually took place yesterday. So that deal happened after the games. Houston D goes from Norm to RJ for Schultz and Watson. All right, waivers. Let's dive in. I got it here on my phone because it breaks it down more cleaner. McNichols got picked up for 24 fake bucks. He went to Jeff. No one else bid a single dollar, so Jeff spent 24 fake bucks picking up McNichols. Kamani Vidal picked up by John. Again, 17 fake bucks. The next bid was 0. No one's got money. Vele is a good pickup. He's been getting a ton of targets for Denver. 17.
So I'm annoyed with Vele, and not, I guess maybe his role's changed or whatever, but like you look down his thing, he's got like about 10 points in every game, with the exception of a 3-week span that he had like 2.5 points.
Yeah.
Guess which 3 weeks he was on my team?
Week 7 through week 9.
Yes.
Yeah, but 9 targets, 5 targets, 4 targets. They play Cleveland and then
even
have a
before
bye.
those games, you know, the first week of the season, and you know, the week he came back from getting, you know, benched or whatever happened.
Yeah, they just have a bunch of young receivers besides Sutton. All their receivers are young. Isn't that true, Dave?
Oh yeah, Troy Franklin. I mean, Josh Reynolds hasn't played since he, got shot. Troy Franklin,
Mims,
little Jordan Humphrey fumbles all the time.
Yeah, I like Mims. They need to get him the ball.
They are starting to use him as everything, man. He gets like 2 or 3 rushes a game. He's been averaging for like the last couple months. He might get a couple of catches. He is the Broncos' primary kickoff and punt returner. He's a gadget guy. He's gonna stick. He's gonna stick around for sure.
So Noah Gray got picked up by Carl. Jerome Ford was dropped. RJ picked up the Patriots defense, dropped the Atlanta Falcons. Koo, kicker, got picked up. 2 bids, Rich and Nick. Nick, I guess, got it because of where he sits in the standings. And then Dave picked up Zach Ertz. Following waivers, Noah Brown was picked up. Mechie was dropped. Tyler Bahaz was picked up by John just to play him this week, huh, John?
Dave hates it, man.
Yeah, I'm sure. Schrader, the kicker for Kansas City, was picked up by RJ. Figure why not? He's got pretty much all the Chiefs. Nikki picked up Ray McLeod. I picked up Jake Elliott, dropped my kicker, Moody. I picked up the Saints D. That was a future play. Dropped Jatavian Sanders. And then the Titans defense was picked up for Audric Estime. So that was all of the transactions. Guys are kind of just cherry picking right now. I mean, I know we got some GMs in the league like Dave that are just sitting and don't want to improve their team. They would much rather start guys like Amir Abdullah against the Chiefs than, I don't know, a guy like Tyron Tracy playing tomorrow against Dallas, or even the other running back in that game, Rico Dowdle, playing against the Giants. I've got guys on my bench. I'm going to make it known here, and then I'm going to make it known in group chat later that should be starting. I've got guys like Jordan Addison, Devonta Smith, if he plays, Evan Ingram, Rico Dowdle, Brian Robinson, Tank Bigsby. I mean, I'm not even starting Rico Dowdle or Tank Bigsby or Brian Robinson right now. Brian Robinson hurt his ankle.
I was about to say, that's a mighty big-ass bench you talking about.
Yeah. Dude, Brian Robinson practiced. Took part in practice Wednesday. Dave, you want Brian Robinson? There's no Austin Eckler this week.
I don't know if he's going to be healthy enough, man, for this week. I just need to win this week.
Yeah, you and I both. I'm just trying to improve your team, Dave. Not even worried about mine.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Again,
But I like where my team is at right now. And
God.
if that changes, I'll definitely let you know.
Well, this is the last week. Tank Bigsby, full go in practice. By the way, Trevor Lawrence is playing this week. So boost to Bigsby, boost to Evan Ingram.
Who are they playing?
Houston.
Oof.
Coming off a bye.
It's going to be a tough matchup.
Coming off a bye. Yep.
Stingley's going to be shadowing Brian Thomas. You know,
Well, we're talking about Evan Ingram and Tank Bigsby here.
You know,
You can move the ball on Houston, bro. Did I just tell you they gave up 30 points and like 375 yards last week against Tennessee? You can move the ball in Houston. I like that matchup for the Jags.
who would you rather have as quarterback? It's just curious. Would you rather have for the rest of the year Will Levis or Trevor Lawrence?
If Trevor Lawrence is healthy, Trevor Lawrence. John?
Trevor Lawrence.
Levis has been playing a lot better lately.
But
I might go with Levis.
he still throws picks, man. Still turns the ball over.
I mean, Lawrence still might be hurt when he comes back. I mean, he's going to be hurt.
Who has more weapons?
Oh, the Jaguars, obviously.
Oh, just throwing it out there. That's why I'd lean towards Trevor Lawrence. And I like their schedule. Like,
Titans got a good
Where's my-
schedule down, you know. I mean, they got a good schedule coming down the line for fantasy.
who's that?
Titans do.
Well, Jacksonville and Titans play week 14. And then they play week 17. Tennessee and Jacksonville. Yeah. I don't know. It's a toss-up. I mean, Levis has been playing well. You're right. But Trevor Lawrence is better. All right, boys. We're going into week 13. There's only 2 weeks left of our regular season. Where's the league? There it is. Week 13 matchups. You guys ready for this? We're going to break down my game because I think we know there's a couple games of the week, starting with this one. I'm 7-5. My team's reeling. Lost 2 in a row. Jeff's team, Romeo Dobbs, ruled out. Concussion.
Eesh.
Make Bears great again has won 2 in a row to put himself in this spot. Must win for both teams. Absolute must win. My guys are doing some it's going to be a tough week of coaching and practice this week. I know I got a bunch of guys playing on Thursday. We'll break it down. I need your opinions. You got Jalen Hurts playing at Baltimore. You got Brock Purdy playing at Buffalo. Who would you take?
Jalen Hurts.
Hurts all day.
Okay. You got struggling, reeling, Christian McCaffrey at Buffalo. He owes fantasy managers, especially me, this week. Big time. Tyron Tracy playing tomorrow at Dallas. He's got Aaron Jones home against Arizona. DeAndre Swift at Detroit. Whose backfield would you take?
Aaron Jones, Swift.
Jones.
Okay. That just shows you the fall of Christian McCaffrey. Sun God, he's going to play tomorrow. Jacoby Myers, Jordan Addison, Drake London, Debo, and Darnell Mooney. Which side would you take, boys?
Sun God. Your side.
John?
If I say your side, I feel like I'm really overblowing what Jordan Addison did last week. I'm super close on this. That might be a coin flip, especially if Brock Purdy's healthy.
Yeah, he practiced. So I'm hoping he does play for McCaffrey's sake. I mean, I know he's got Debo and Juwan Jennings. We'll see here. Taysom Hill in the Rams. Trey McBride's a beast. You got to give the edge to Trey McBride at Minnesota. Right now I've got, let's say Devonta Smith is healthy. I've got Devonta Smith and Evan Ingram in there. Like I said, Trevor Lawrence coming back, Juwan Jennings and Jerry Jeudy.
Jennings, Judy.
T-Law's back.
Revenge game for Judy. Big game, do or die game for San Fran.
All right, I take Devonta and Evan Ingram. I bet Judy's going to be locked up by Surtain. You think they're going to let that fool do anything this week? I don't think Jerry Judy's having a week. I think this is going to be...
I don't think Judy's going to be locked up 100% of the time with Surtain. I think maybe half the time, half the game. The Broncos defense plays a lot of Surtain is a zone, you know. I think Judy has it's a revenge game. I think he has an okay game.
Kickers are kickers. Right now, I'm starting the Rams D at New Orleans. I say right now because that could change. I'll show you my other options in a minute. But let's just say I'm starting the Rams at New Orleans. He's got Pittsburgh playing at Cincinnati. Make a pick.
Give me the Rams.
Rams.
Okay. And then I have lineup decisions, boys. I got Rico Dowdle tomorrow against the Giants. Brian Robinson, if he's healthy. Tank Bigsby, he could be playing. And then these are my other two defenses. Saints home against the Rams or Chicago at Detroit. I'm not starting Chicago. I don't know. Would you start the Rams defense or the Saints defense in that same game? What are your thoughts?
Rams.
I'd start the Rams too, I think.
Saints are home?
Yeah. Coming off a bye.
Yeah, probably the Rams.
It's a tough one. But, yeah, I've got, like I said, I got Brian Robinson, Rico Dowdle, Tank Bigsby, Evan Ingram, Devonta Smith if he plays, like Jordan Addison, hoping he can build off that big game. I know what you're saying. They locked up. Chicago did a great job of locking up Jay Jetta, and that's what freed up Addison. That Arizona-Minnesota game could be a shootout. Arizona's – who knows? Arizona's a tough team to read.
For
Overall, guys, who do you give the edge to here? 7-5, 6-6, must win for both teams.
Bing bong.
Bing bong. Woo! Okay. Jeff, it's going to be a battle. We've already been texting. It's going to be a monster battle. The other game in my division, STD Buckets against Phil. Phil has the forecasted advantage here, but we're going to break it down. Norm's going to start Jared Goff tomorrow against Chicago at home, Turkey Day game. Lamar Jackson at home versus Philly. Who would you take?
Lamar could beat you with his legs too. I mean,
you got to think Philly's going to score points, which means Lamar's going to be forced to score points too. I'm taking Lamar.
Yeah, I got Lamar.
Okay, running backs. Here's that Chase Brown matchup, home against Pittsburgh. Tony Pollard at Washington against Bijan and Kyron. I think this is pretty obvious.
Bijan and Kyron.
Yeah, Chase Brown's been playing really well, though, but they're playing just one of the top 3 defenses in the league. All right. Wide receivers, DJ Moore in the Turkey Day game tomorrow. Christian Watson plays tomorrow night. Xavier Worthy against Vegas. You got Devontae Adams, Shakir, and Zay Flowers. This one's tough.
Push. It's a push. Yeah. It's a bunch of like mid 3s.
Oh man.
Zay Flowers is probably from a fantasy perspective, but it's ugly. Yeah, push it. Kittle and Otten. Otten's been on fire up until the bye week, and then last week he didn't do shit.
If we're assuming Purdy's in, I'll take Kittle.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I can see that Tampa Carolina game being not as bad as the Giants game this past week for Tampa, but one of those where they're up. They don't need to throw as much. Wicks and Tillman is in the lineup right now against Huge and Javonte Williams. Ugh. Ooh. Let's see. What else does Norm have? Dobbins is hurt. Mike Williams, Singletary, Josh Downs may not play. Booty and Goddard. Ooh.
Shit.
I mean, I guess I would start Goddard if Tillman's out.
Yeah.
You got to wait. Either way, it's a push. Kickers are kickers. Then you got Kansas City's defense home against Vegas. Washington's defense home against Tennessee. Give me Kansas City's defense.
KC.
This one's closer than it looks. I mean, obviously Phil's top heavy with Lamar, Bijan, and Kyron. It's been the story all year, but Norm does have a fighting chance. I still give a slight edge to Phil.
Scroll down to the flexes again.
Quentin Johnston, Javonte Williams, Wicks, and Tillman. Let's see what else Phil has. Jonathan Brooks, Algier, Xavier Legette, Shepard, Westbrook-Akine.
You know what this doesn't show?
What?
This doesn't show IR. Phil has Isaiah Pacheco coming back also.
Okay.
So, I mean, if you put Isaiah Pacheco in there instead of Quentin Johnston, I'm going to lean pretty heavily towards Phil.
Yeah. Dave, what do you think?
Phil. I got Phil.
Okay. Big time matchups. Okay. Let's move into the next division here. Rod Dogging it 6-6 against Rich 6-6. Do or die, must win for both teams. And both teams are close in the points, too. Let me see. Rich has nine more points than Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan was pouring points on heavy early in the season, and Rich is doing the same right now.
Rod Dogging it starting Baker Mayfield at Carolina against Jaden Daniels, home against Tennessee. This one's closer than you might think. Baker's been on a roll. They didn't really need him last week. They may not need him this week. But Carolina's been more competitive. I mean, they had the lead against Kansas City late in that game. Kansas City was forced to make a game-winning drive to kick a field goal as time expired.
I'm going to take Jaden.
Dave?
Baker.
Okay. I like Baker. I like Baker's matchup. I think Carolina actually could score some points. Tennessee's got a better defense than Carolina. And Jaden, like you said it best, John. If it wasn't for that one play at the end of the game, Jaden doesn't have a really good – he doesn't even have over 20 points last week.
Jaden's made a habit out of getting that one play every fucking week.
Fair. And that's all it takes. You're right. Derrick Henry, home against Philly. Kenneth Walker on the road against the Jets. Montgomery starting tomorrow against Chicago. Joe Mixon at Jacksonville. I mean, we know he's got Saquon in the flex, but let's just break down these 4 running backs.
Go Monty Mixon.
John? Monty's leaning towards playing as of this recording.
Give me Derrick Henry and Kenny Walker.
That's what side I'm leaning towards. Derrick Henry and Kenneth Walker. Okay. JMO, Malik Neighbors, JSN. Two of those guys play tomorrow. Then you got Scary Terry, Puka, and Jay Jetta. Can we move on?
Yep.
Okay. Just for everyone's edification, Rich, I think, has the advantage. Tight ends. This one's closer than it may look. Kraft. I would give the edge to Kraft.
I think it's a push.
Okay. Pittman and Warren against Elijah Moore and this guy named Saquon Barkley. Edge Rich. Yeah. Saquon's going to outscore Pittman and Warren.
Yeah.
Denver D, Monday night at home. Like you said, Dave, big time game against Cleveland. And then Rich is starting that Seattle D that we just talked up. On the road, West Coast team going across the country for an early start at the Jets.
Yeah, I think
Seattle
travels.
Seattle.
Okay.
I'm on Seattle.
I like Seattle too, just because the Jets offense is not good. Looking at their benches to see if there's any other, there's not really spot starts.
Yeah, we need to talk about what the fuck's going on there, and Rodgers, bro.
We'll change it to the Broncos because I think whenever the Broncos play the Browns, it's always a low, slow game, a low scoring game.
Fair. That's fair.
The Broncos.
I'm taking Seattle. What do you want to bring up about Aaron Rodgers there, John?
Anything. Like, what is going on with this dude?
I don't know.
He's
I am not sure. It's a mess in New York. That's all I'm going to say. The schedule has fallen in Carl's favor for sure this year. He faces a struggling white boy Rick at 5-7, gets Josh Allen back off the bye, stacks on stacks, 8-4, clearly in first place in the division, clearly number one in our league. Let's break it down. Josh Allen plays home Sunday night against San Francisco. Joe Burrow's on the road, at home against Pittsburgh. I would lean towards Josh Allen, but you just don't know. What are you sending us?
Oh, it's something I saw on the interwebs.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense.
It's legit,
This
right?
is a tough one.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
It is legit.
but
I'm going to take Josh Allen against that struggling ass defense in San Francisco.
the hurt defense.
I don't care why they struggle, and they're still struggling.
Are they still with that Bosa biz?
I haven't seen anything. Again, it's Wednesday, midday. Whether or not he's practicing, they don't play till Sunday night. So I'm sure there'll be some reports out. I doubt he's practicing today.
I think San Francisco's without some teams. So I would say Josh Allen.
Yeah, I think Josh Allen coming off the bye at home, primetime game, he's going to carve him up. Nick Chubb, Breece Hall against Gibbs and Hubbard. Give me Gibbs and Hubbard. I don't care what the matchup is.
Hall may not play. He's not practicing today.
Yeah, but he's got Braylon. Braylon out? No. Yeah. He's got Allen, right?
He does now, yes. Right here. Braylon Allen. It's his only other running back. Oh, he's got ETN as well. So he could start ETN and let's see.
Chuba,
Keon Coleman, Ricky
Chuba and
Pearsall.
Gibbs for me.
Yeah. Okay. Wide receivers, I think this is going to be obvious as well. Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins against Garrett Wilson, Hopkins, and Pickens. I think it's a pretty clear advantage for Carl. Again, Cincinnati playing a tough Pittsburgh defense. They are at home, but give me the Bengals.
For sure. I got that.
All right.
It'll be fun watching. That should be a fun game to watch, man.
Yeah. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Bowers and Henry, edge Bowers. Okay. Flex, Njoku and ETN against Sutton and Marvin Harrison.
So,
Sutton's been on a heater.
he's been crazy. I think he's like, yeah, dude. He's ever since the beginning of October. He's been on a crazy.
Look at
streak.
this. Week 8, 18, 26, 16, 11, and then 25.7. Look at the targets, though. 10, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, give me the Sutton side. Sutton and Harrison.
Yep.
Because I think Arizona's offense is going to bounce back this week. Defenses, right now, Ricky's starting the Giants D at Dallas tomorrow. And then what do you know? Carl's starting the Dallas D home against the Giants. Give me the Dallas defense.
Dallas defense.
I'll be honest. I think this would be a shocker if Ricky wins. I think Carl has a clear advantage. Any disagreement there?
Nope.
Any thoughts? Okay. We're going to skip over this one. We're going to go to firm grasp of the obvious. RJ and Nikki playing in what kind of looks like a meaningless game. It's hard to say, fellas. It's just the way the ball dropped this year, 5-7 against 2-10. Let's fly through this one. You got Pat Mahomes home against Vegas. Tua on the road tomorrow night in Green Bay. We know that Miami offense is susceptible to weather, especially cold weather. Give me Patty against Vegas.
Yeah.
Although the only thing is that from a fantasy perspective, I expect Green Bay to put up some points and be in the lead, which would force Tua to throw the ball. Just throwing it out there. Bucky Irving and James Cook against Najee Harris. Yeah, true. Bucky Irving's playing at Carolina. James Cook home against San Francisco. Najee on the road in Cincy. Achane on the road in Green Bay.
It's pretty easy here, right?
I think it's a push.
I think it's pretty close.
Give me Cook
But
and Irving.
If I had to pick a side, I'd say
Bucky and
Cook and Irving. If I had to pick a side. Wide receivers, Calvin Ridley, Mike Evans, Jalen Waddle against Tyreek Hill, Keenan Allen, Roman Dunze. I definitely lean Evans.
Yep.
Ridley.
Evans, Waddle.
Kelsey and Jonnu. That one's closer than it might. Well, I say that might be a push. Because like I said, I think
especially with Gray taking like most of Kelsey's prime shit.
RJ's playing Kamara and Rashad White in the flex against MVS, Brian Thomas Jr. Give me Kamara.
Kamara.
San Francisco defense is playing on the road to Buffalo. Jets, playing home against Seattle. These guys have he's got Houston at Jacksonville. Surprised that would probably be the start.
Yeah.
And then he's got Cleveland at Denver versus the Jets home against Seattle.
Why didn't Nicky pick up Koo? Because Tucker's got a bye next week.
Smart.
Yeah.
Nicky's trying to break hearts right now.
Narratives.
Okay. He already broke one last week, right?
Yeah. So can he do it 2 weeks in a row? I don't see it, but you never know, boys.
Yeah, I think RJ's got this.
RJ.
Okay. Boys, if there wasn't a bigger game this week, I don't know. There's a bunch of big games in our league. Week 13, clash of the mediocre teams. Here we go, boys. Takeover 7-5, business ethics 7-5. Dave, I want to go to you first. How are you feeling about your team's chances this week?
I like where my team is at right now. I mean, I got Nixon there. He's been on a run here. I think it continues through Cleveland, and I also have Abdullah in there. I think regardless who the running back is, Abdullah will get his. Even though Chiefs are pretty good against the running backs. We'll see what happens. Taylor's got a favorable matchup. I got a couple tough matchups there too, but
I'm going to break it down. Don't worry.
I like where it's at right now.
All right, John. Your thoughts going into this week?
Yeah, I love where I'm at, man. I think Dave's back's against the wall. I think he's not trying to admit that he feels the pressure right now. Myles Garrett is going to stick it to him on Monday night. And it's going to be fun. And Dave's not going to have the, wouldn't it be cool if I won a game because Justin Tucker missed a kick?
No, I wasn't rooting for the kicker last. I was rooting for Ladd. Ladd came up short, but I was rooting for Ladd McConkey last game. FYI.
All right, I'm going to break it down.
Break it down.
Both of you guys have quarterback decisions to make. Kyler Murray playing at home against Minnesota. Bo Nix playing at home against Chicago. Excuse me, Kyler's on the road in Minnesota. Your other options are Stroud at Jacksonville or Jordan Love tomorrow night home against Miami. I'm not sure why you're not starting Jordan Love.
Well, Miami's only allowed 3 quarterbacks to go over 17 points this year. They're pretty good.
That's a great stat, Dave. That's a great stat.
Yeah.
Pulled that one out
myself.
Sometimes, though, you got to go against the stats and go with your gut.
Yeah, Bo Nix. I might actually be at that game. I'm actually
Really?
Might, yeah. Depends what my brother wants to do.
Okay.
I offered him a couple tickets if he wanted to go.
Minnesota's defense is just so tough. I would have to give the edge to Bo Nix here. If Stroud was starting at Jacksonville and Lawrence plays, man, it'd be tough for me to sit Stroud because of the matchup, John. Just thinking out loud, do what you want. Josh Jacobs, Stevenson against the Indianapolis defense. Jonathan Taylor on the other side and Abdullah. I think this is an edge for John with Jacobs and Stevenson. I'm just not high on Abdullah. If you look at his numbers over the last couple of weeks, they're touchdown dependent. I know he's like the clear back in Vegas, but Vegas is starting O'Connell, and they don't have a great matchup at Kansas City. There's other guys you can start.
I think his snap share is really favorable, no matter who the back is going to be.
Dude, they're playing at Kansas City, and O'Donnell is the quarterback. You're fucked. You wouldn't want to start Rico Dowdle tomorrow against the Giants?
No. I like my tape. I like where it's at. I think I like Abdullah.
All right.
I'll start Abdullah.
Okay. Yeah, you are. I see that.
I'll win too with Abdullah.
All right. Wide receivers. CeeDee Lamb, DK Metcalf, Nico Collins going up against Jaden Reed, A.J. Brown, and McConkey. I think this one's close. I would side towards John. I think DK is due for a big game. I know Sauce is probably going to be all over him, but Nico Collins at Jacksonville is just too juicy to pass up. A.J. Brown at Baltimore is a monster matchup too. This one's close, but if I had to pick a side, I'd pick John's side very slightly, though, because of the matchups.
It's close.
Hawkinson and Laporta. I'm going with Hawkinson here. Chicago's defense is better than Arizona's. Sorry. Tank Dell, Alec Pierce, Amari Cooper, and James Conner. Dave, this is where I think you have an advantage. Amari Cooper and James Conner. James Conner's got a tough matchup against Minnesota. Amari's playing home, primetime Sunday night. Alec Pierce is just, he's a one-trick pony. John, who else do you have here? You got Kincaid, Michael Wilson, and then a couple handcuff backs. Okay. Yeah, I would give Dave an edge there. Kickers. And then Detroit defense playing against Chicago or Tampa Bay playing at Carolina. Whew. See, this one, like for Detroit, could go sideways because if they get up big, Chicago's going to be able to move the ball and get a bunch of Stafford stats. And whereas, man, Tampa looked so good last week. Granted, you got to take it with a grain of salt. They're playing against Tommy DeVito.
Now they're going to play against Bryce Young.
Yeah, but Carolina's been playing better, man. They really have. Like I said, they moved the ball against Kansas City. They were in that game right down to the final wire. This one's tough. I'm going to call that a push. It looks like the projections agree. Other options, you got Minnesota versus Arizona, Chargers at Atlanta. Don't really certainly these are the two best defenses for their matchup playing this week. Oh, it's a push. John, I give you a slight edge going into this. Looks like the projections lean my way. I would lean heavier if you were starting Stroud at Jacksonville. Those are my thoughts.
All right, so just throwing it out there, and I know you're gonna probably not love hearing this. I am starting Stroud. Okay, I do have Kyler Murray firmly planted in my starter position because I'm gonna make a trade offer to Phil, and I just want him sitting in my starter position.
Who does Arizona play Week 14?
Seattle in Arizona this time.
Okay.
So,
hey, do what you got to do, man. I'm going to beat Phil regardless.
cool. I'm trying to trade him Kyler and Tank Dell for Pacheco and Leggett.
Is he responding? Is this a deal that is in
No,
works?
it's kind of cold.
Hmm.
I know he needs a Week 14 quarterback. So,
Yeah, desperately.
Yeah.
How many carries, like how much work do you think Pacheco's going to get this week? I know they're playing home against Vegas. It's a great week.
yeah, I mean, he was a full participant in practice yesterday. So I think he's good to go, but I mean,
and that's the Black Friday game, correct?
yeah, and honestly, hopefully he sees and we make our negotiation before he hears this, but hopefully he just makes the trade on the promise of Pacheco and still not having seen anything, and he needs that W against you in Week 14, right?
Yeah.
Can't be going out there with Will Levis, right?
Or Jameis or whoever else is on the wire right now. It's ugly out there.
And Pacheco's not really taking anything out of his lineup, and he needs the help at wide receiver. I think Tank Dell would do. Would Tank Dell start on his team?
Yes. At wide receiver for sure. It'll be one of these three wide receivers.
So
Yeah.
I thought it was a decent throw.
Yeah, for sure. I need to move some of these guys on my bench to upgrade a starter potentially because I don't want to have to make these decisions.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that Rico Dowdle scores his first rushing touchdown tomorrow against the Giants, and I don't know if I have the balls to start him over Evan Ingram against Houston. Just one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't decisions.
For sure.
But Dave feels good about his team. I mean, Amir Abdullah going to win him a championship. Let's go. Let's go.
Hey, if he wins me my championship, I did something good,
It's not going to happen, Dave.
It's something good.
I can appreciate the optimism, but
Hey, I got a chance. I mean, everybody has a chance until they're mathematically out.
0.01%.
Yeah.
There's always a chance.
I mean,
You got to make moves, though, to try to make that chance better than just average, right?
Bro, how can you confidently start Amir Abdullah, even in your flex? I understand you got James Conner in the flex, but
I just think he's a better start than Demario Douglas.
yeah,
That's who I went over.
Yeah, he is. But when I'm trying to offer you three guys that you can start for one of your starters, you got to look at the total points of the three guys I'm trying to give you for AJ Brown.
Fair enough, but I like where my team is at right now. If that changes, I'll definitely let you know.
That is the most political answer I've ever heard.
That was his text to me. And Dave, how did I respond? He goes, I appreciate the deal. I think I'm going to hold on to Brown. If I change my mind, you will be the first to know. I wrote back, bro, you and I both know you're not doing any deals. Like, okay, I'll carry on.
We
You know, what
tried.
are we gonna do? All right, I don't know where Dave.
Dude, when we were both 4-1, he was asking me why I was trading for Nico. I was like, man, because I think it's going to make my team harder to beat later in the season.
Yeah.
We patted ourselves with wins right now. Now it's time to take a couple risks to make the team more dangerous.
Yeah, Rich did something similar, but even more risk involved because he had a losing record and traded for Puka Nacua.
Yeah.
And I think only 1 week that hurt him, Puka. But the rest of the time, Puka's been rookie year Puka. So it's worked out for him.
Yeah.
In the long run. Sometimes you have to eat a couple losses for the long-term gain and making a playoff push.
That's exactly what I did. Did I take a couple more losses than I wanted to? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, it was all about, hey, I'll give up Terry McLaurin now if it gives me Nico Collins later. And, right now I'm 2 bullshit penalties. And I mean bullshit, not that they weren't penalties, just bullshit that they committed the penalties.
Right.
Away from those 2 plays for CJ would probably be worth about 35 points, 33 points in the last 2 weeks.
You mean for Nico or for CJ?
Nico. Well, I had CJ that week too, so it would have been a lot that week for me.
Yeah. Yeah, having the connect is huge. Just get you to double up on points real quick. Double up on points for sure. So, all right, I don't know what Dave's doing. Dave, we're gonna run, brother.
All right, guys, have a good one. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Good
luck. Good luck this week. Unfortunately, only one of you can come out victorious, which is the hard truth here in fantasy. But I'm wishing you both luck, prosperity, happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you guys next week.
See y'all soon, boys. It'll be playoff time.
And trade deadline.
Dave, you're the Pittsburgh Steelers.